Hey guys, I hope everyone is doing all right. My name is Michelle, and obviously I'm in your class this month. Um, I don't like being on camera, so I'm just gonna get started, if that's okay. The comic I chose for this assignment was 21st Century Tank Girl. Started. The comic that I chose for this assignment was 21st Century Tank Girl, whose creative team consists of the writer, Alan Martin, the artists Jamie Hewlett, Brett Parson, Warwick Johnson Cadwell, Jonathan Edwards, Jim Manford, Craig Knowles, and Philippe Bonds. The lettering was done by Jim Campbell, and the designers were Alan Martin and Wilfred Tashikana at Kutsu, and the editor Tom Williams. The publisher is Titan Comics, and the comic runs about 114 pages in a whole. So the main character of this comic is Tank Girl, and along with her friends Jet Girl, this dog thing called Booga, and a girl named Barney. The graphic novel seems to be a compilation of stories instead of just one big tale. The book doesn't have a three-act structure, but the individual stories themselves are set up that way. So the book as a whole doesn't really fit into our model of storytelling. All the compiled short stories center around one main character, which is Tank Girl herself. And it seems that she may be the only character with some semblance of a solid character arc. Her goal seems to be to get out of whatever terrible situation she puts herself into. She doesn't necessarily seem to go through any changes or grow as a character, but she does play multiple roles in all the stories. For example, what I took from this character is that she acts as both a hero and a villain. To her friends, she is a savior, and to literally everyone else, she is the bad guy. Um, because this book is a compilation of different stories, in this presentation, I'll be discussing the book's three main storylines. But while these are standalone stories, each of these stories has a clear beginning, middle, and end. The first story is called Space is Ace. Basically, it's about Tank Girl going on a mission to space to look for these space crystals that are like souped up equivalents of rocket fuel. She made a deal with a crazy gang boss to acquire some for him, and she must find the crystals and return them to him in 48 hours, or she's going to lose her beloved war tank, which we can see here. I guess not. I guess I zoomed in too much. But yeah, the tank is right here. And these are her friends, Booga, uh, Jet Girl, and Barney, partying it up without her. Um, so ultimately, she does manage to find a planet where these crystals are at the core of it, and she gets captured by the planet's inhabitants and is told that she must prove that she is worthy to take the crystals, because if she tries to steal them, the planet will collapse in on itself. Um, what they ask from her is to tell them her true name. So she refuses, and she kills their leader and gives him a fake name. Uh, this causes civil war amongst the planet's inhabitants. You know, they have little people with orange jumpsuits and like little green people with gray jumpsuits. And apparently, the orange jumpsuits are kind of like the superior race. But all in all, the planet does collapse in on itself, and she returns to Earth just in time to save her friends and her tank from being stolen by this gang boss. Um, so yeah, ultimately, she's the hero of her friends and herself, and everyone else suffers. So the next story in this compilation of short stories is called Tank Girl, Booga, and Jet Girl in Mango 71. The story is about Booga taking on a transport job to uh, transport someone's expensive car to them. And on his way out of town, he goes to pick up Tank Girl and Jet Girl from a barbershop. Upon arrival, he finds out that the girls have ripped off a high stakes poker game. So him and the girls are running for their lives in this insanely expensive car. Long story short, they kill the bad guys that are chasing after them, and they get the car to where it needs to go. But ultimately, at the end, it is completely destroyed, and the buyer kind of like loses his mind. He starts foaming at the mouth, and he threatens Booga. Um, for this story, the acts take place on pages 14 for Act 1, Act 2, 18, Act 3, page 24. So the next story is, give me 1 second to find it. The next story is called Tank Girl and the Running Man. In this one, Tank Girl is in prison and is in a race for survival against other prisoners and a zombie Nazi named Adolf. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the anime Dead Man Wonderland. This story is exactly like that. But for those who haven't, in this Tank Girl story, there are 6 death row inmates, including Tank Girl herself, who are in a race to not get eaten by this crazy Nazi zombie. Uh, they must face booby traps and other malicious obstacles to get to the designated safety zone at the end. They will have 3 days of safety and comfort until they're forced to compete again. So, as you can probably tell by now, Tank Girl isn't, down for that sort of thing. And she never plays fair, so she sacrifices her competitors to a horrible death to beat the game at the end. Upon reaching said end, she unleashes the zombie on the audience. I can show you that right here. She unleashes the zombie on the audience and kills everyone. For this story, Act 1 begins on page 101, Act 2 on page 103, and Act 3 on page 105. To be honest, as you can probably tell, it took me a while to get to the main stories in this book. The transitions aren't really smooth in between stories. Some of them end with weird fan art, and then you got to get to some crazy side story just to get to the next story. I don't believe that the stories make a great use of the page. I do believe that they make a great use of the page as a mini comic idea. Not every page is a cliffhanger, but it does keep it interesting. The directional flow of these stories are, it seems to me that they're in a traditional Z pattern that reads, left to right. So it's easy to read and easy to follow. Overall, I think I would recommend this to everyone, classmates and friend alike. It was a very interesting read. The art is amazing because it was illustrated by a number of different people with different art styles. And Tank Girl is an amazing character in herself. So that's pretty much it for my presentation, and I'll end this with a little fun fact. Jamie Hewlett, the man behind the characters for the band, the Gorillaz, he came out of a 20-year hiatus just to work on this project. So I thought that was a cool thing. thanks for watching, guys, and good luck to everyone else on your projects. Yeah, so thanks for watching.